Hampshire moved to the top of the South Group of the NatWest T20 Blast after sending Middlesex to their fourth successive defeat with a 21-run victory at Lord's. Batting first after winning the toss, Hampshire looked to James Vince to pick up from the 99 he made against Kent last week. He took 3 fours off Harry Podmore's first over, the second of the game. Kyle Abbott was brought on for the third and struck with his first delivery. Vince bowled for 14 with 15 runs on the board. Ollie Rayner had been brought into the side, delivered an excellent opening over, and when he was brought back on to bowl the fifth, he trapped Jimmy Adams in front on the reverse with his first ball. Adams was out for 8, leaving it to Michael Carberry to make the most of the remainder of the power play. He ruined Rayner's over with this 6 and a 4 coming in it. Still, Middlesex would have been pleased to reduce their visitors to 44 for 2 at the end of the first 6 overs, and with Carberry finding the boundary when he could, that total became 71 for 2 at the halfway stage. But as in their defeat to Gloucestershire last Sunday, and when these two sides met in Southampton, Middlesex lost their way in the second 10 overs with the ball. Paul Stirling had his figures ruined a bit, while Rayner's last over went for 17 runs, with O.A. Shah returning to Lord's in fine fettle. He's enjoyed playing against his former county this year. A second maximum took him to his half-century off 38 deliveries, from which he'd also struck 5 fours. He'd also taken his partnership with Carberry for the third wicket into 3 figures. Shah went on to make 64 and was out in unusual circumstances, treading on his wicket as he went too far back into his crease, hitting the ball for what would have been a third 6. But all that did was bring in Sean Irvine, who hit the first 3 balls he faced to the boundary to take his side up to 158 for 3 with 18 balls of their innings remaining. The 18th over cost 14 runs, with both Carberry and Irvine clearing the rope off James Harris. Good clean hitting from the two left-handers, who were making the most of what appeared to be a good batting surface at the home of cricket. Irvine fell to the last ball of the over after blasting 20 off 7 deliveries. Andrew Balbirnie with a catch at Cow Corner, which left the score on 172 for 4 with 2 overs to go. Adam Wheater was out 4th ball, and then Abbott had a bit of a nightmare in the last over, which cost 20 and included 2 no balls. Carberry batting through the innings to finish on a 44-ball 72, Hampshire ending on 199 for 5. As ever, Will Smith delivered the opening over of Hampshire's defence, and with his 3rd ball he held on to a return catch to get rid of Nick Compton for a duck. Jackson Bird followed that up with a wicket of Nick Gubbins in the next over. LBW the obvious decision, as the home team were soon in trouble on 9 for 2 in reply. There was, of course, no time to build a recovery, and John Simpson, fresh from his career best 74 in that defeat to Gloucestershire in Richmond, and Stirling still went for their shots as they had to. Bird's second over went for 20 runs, with Stirling beginning to find his range. That was an impressive response to the loss of those 2 wickets, but the next over was even better for the powerful Irishman. He hit a 6 off Chris Wood's second ball, and he followed that up with 4 fours off the next 4 legal deliveries. If Middlesex were going to get close to 200 to win this match, they were going to need something big from Stirling, and right now he was not disappointing. Another sizable crowd of 18,000 at Lord's. But then 3 overs passed by without a boundary before Simpson took on Danny Briggs, while Stirling, whose strike rate amongst top-order batsmen in this year's competition has only been better by Chris Gale, reached a 50, his 3rd from 5 innings off 24 deliveries. If he could keep going, then his side might have a chance to arrest their recent slump. These two added 88 runs in 8 overs. Crucially, Simpson on 35 then holed out off Smith, and that left Middlesex on 101 for 3 after 10 overs. 99 more runs now required from the last 10. But the game began to slip away from the home team when, in the next over, Stirling was caught and bowled by Yasser Arafat, who judged the catch well. The Irishman's innings ending on 54, which had been made off 27 balls. With the rate going up, more wickets inevitably fell. Balbirnie taken behind by Wheater off Briggs after making 3. Franklin then hit an Irvine no ball for a huge 6. Only to lose Neil Dexter at the other end for a couple. Shah with a catch at short fine leg, as Briggs ended with the excellent figures of 2 for 28 from his 4 overs. So now 67 runs were wanted from the final 5, and after Franklin had cleared the rope for a second time, the game was just about up for his team. Rayner was run out by Smith, who'd earlier completed his 4 overs at a cost of only 19 runs, the batsman's slightest moment of indecision mid-pitch, costing him. Then, 2 balls later, Franklin was leg before to Yasser Arafat for 35, and with him went any chance of a Middlesex win. They'd slipped from 97 for 2 to 154 for 9 when Harris was caught by Shaw off Bird for a single. Abbott tried to make up for his last over, which went for 20 by clearing the rope off Bird, but with the last pair in, the innings petered out and Middlesex could only get to a final score of 178 for 9. It was the second half of their bowling effort which again let them down as they lost this match by 21 runs, the victory enough to put Hampshire on top of the group with 10 points ahead of Friday night's home game with Sussex. Middlesex has started to struggle in this format again after a good start, but they have time to recover. They're next in T20 action next Friday when Somerset are the visitors to Uxbridge.